Am I an a-hole for not wanting to be in my son's life anymore? My ex-wife and I got divorced 2 years ago, and I have a son, 5, together. Our child has a dark complexion and brown eyes, even though my wife and I are both very pale and have blue eyes. It was a bit surprising for me, but I never really gave the idea that this child was not my own any serious consideration. Flash forward to 3 years after our child's born, and my wife and I get a divorce. Our divorce was unpleasant, but all things considered, not nearly as bad as it could have been. There was no infidelity or any irredeemable mistake by either party, just two people who no longer wanted to be together. We share custody, but my son lives primarily with my ex-wife and her boyfriend. As the boy's gotten older, his features have almost entirely diverged from mine, and he now looks absolutely nothing like me. Again, I thought nothing of it, as I trusted my ex-wife. But a couple weekends ago, when I was visiting him, I made a joke to my ex-wife that people will think I kidnapped him because of how different we look. She then burst into tears and admits that the child is most likely not my own. I'm absolutely stunned and didn't interrupt her once she spilled an entire saga of her cheating on me with her current boyfriend around the time we were trying to get pregnant. I thought I was going to throw up when I heard and immediately left her home. I don't know if I can ever go back or ever see my son again. I feel emasculated and deeply betrayed by my ex-wife. My wife insists that I remain a part of this family despite all the deceit. She's called me a deadbeat for leaving after she told me the truth and not sticking around to raise my son. She claims that even after all she's done to me, I'm the asshole. I know none of this is my son's fault, and I still care a great deal about his well-being, but I just don't think I can be a father to a child that's not my own, especially when the child's actual father is fully in his life. I feel like an unnecessary appendage in this relationship, and I refuse to be humiliated any further. Am I the asshole for refusing to raise a son that's not my own? Clarifying point. I plan on doing an official DNA test before I make any lasting decisions, but I don't feel ready to have a conversation with my ex-wife yet. She seems convinced her boyfriend is the father, not me. For now, I'm keeping my distance. As much as I might despise him, the child is perfectly safe with my ex-wife and her boyfriend. They both love him deeply, and this would be a very different conversation if that was not the case. Edit. A lot of people are talking about child support being a real issue here. I'm not particularly worried about it at this moment. That discussion will come, but both my wife and I have well-paying jobs, and the child's future will be secure financially regardless of the outcome. He's 5. This is the thing that absolutely breaks my heart. I love him and want the best for him, but honestly, I feel like the best thing for him and me is for me to bow out and his real father to step in. He already lives with him. NTA. You've been put in an impossible situation, and it's completely understandable that you feel betrayed and unsure about how to move forward. Your ex-wife lied to you for years about something fundamental, and now she's expecting you to just brush it off and continue as if nothing happened? That's a huge ask, especially considering the child's biological father is already in his life. That said, I think you're right to focus on getting a DNA test before making any major decisions. If it turns out you're not the biological father, it's fair to reconsider your role in the child's life. You're not obligated to stay in a situation where you feel unnecessary or like an outsider, and your ex-wife doesn't get to guilt you into it after her betrayal. At the same time, it's worth thinking about the child. I know you said you feel like stepping back is best for him, but he's 5 years old and probably views you as his dad. Suddenly losing that bond might be really hard for him. And if you decide to step back, doing it in a gradual and thoughtful way could make a big difference for his emotional well-being. Take your time, get the facts, and prioritize what feels right for you while being mindful of the child's needs. You've been through a lot, and you deserve the space to process and figure this out. Now, some comments. Not the a-hole. Take the DNA test. Get a lawyer to make sure you stop paying child support, and then, if you want to chill with him, you can. But by no means should you financially support him if he isn't yours. At that point, you can choose whether or not to emotionally support him or not. Your son will realize now or in the future the sole reason you left was because he wasn't biologically yours. So you absolutely rejected him. He wasn't good enough to stay your son. Not his mom or the situation, him. You don't want your son anymore because he's not biologically related. This is the truth. Every decision you made from birth to 5 years old was to love and raise him and sacrifice as parents do. You are the adult, and being an adult who is a parent, you do the hard things. The sins of a father, or mother in this case, should never be wrought on the child. You definitely should seek out counseling, regardless of the DNA results. A lot of people on here are approaching this in a very legal view, but this is a sub to ask if you're the a-hole. You're an a-hole for wanting to abandon your son because of who he is. She sucks for cheating on you. You suck for literally being willing to just up and abandon a child you've raised for the past 5 years because he's not genetically yours. You obviously have zero concept of the immense trauma it will do him for you to just up and dip out of his life. You're pissed off about your ex-wife. Imagine growing up being your son, a kid for whom dad went to the corner store to buy milk and never came back. Jokes are going to hit like a semi-truck. You honestly think a 5-year-old child will understand if you sit there and go, "Look, baby, I know I raised you since you were born and I was there when your mom gave birth. All your childhood milestones I was there for, but you're not my biological child and therefore I no longer give a shit. Bye. Please get a vasectomy or something, because you're in no way responsible enough to be having children." Half of me wants to say she dodged a bullet not actually having the kid to be biologically yours if that's the way you are. Story 2. D-Day was about 2 months ago, and my betrayal has left us both in pieces. This wasn't just a single act of infidelity, it was a double betrayal, involving someone who was close to both of us. I deeply regret what I've done and am committed to reconciling, but I feel utterly lost. I'm reaching out for advice for those who have successfully navigated the painful path of reconciliation. As the wayward partner, I want to know what actions others have taken to demonstrate their willingness to repair the relationship. How did you effectively show your remorse and communicate in a way that allowed healing to begin? My betrayed partner is struggling deeply, which I fully understand. He alternates between anger and despair, questioning how I could destroy what we had and whether he should leave or try to stay. Our communication, once the foundation of our relationship, has disintegrated. We used to be each other's safe place for everything, and now the only exchanges we have are filled with pain and accusations. He wants answers to questions like, how is this ever going to be okay? But I don't know if I have the right words, or if I'm even the person who can provide those answers. I've been attending individual counseling for support, but I feel isolated. I want to be there for him and not center this on my feelings, yet it seems like everything I say only makes things worse. I don't want to invalidate his emotions or minimize the damage I've done, but I'm struggling to navigate our conversations. Am I wrong in thinking that some of the answers he's seeking, like whether we can ever be okay, have to come from within himself? Last night, he said something that broke me even further. He said to me, he will set himself free from this pain. Hearing that shattered me, because I thought that despite everything, there's still a glimmer of hope left, but his words indicated that's not. I can't lose him knowing I didn't do everything in my power to try to fix this, but I'm overwhelmed and I don't even know where to begin. I desperately need guidance from others who have successfully reconciled after infidelity. What steps can I take to rebuild trust and show him that I'm committed to repairing the damage I've caused? How do I navigate this fragile space without causing him even more pain? I don't want to destroy this relationship any more than I already have, and I'm willing to do whatever it takes to make things right. Some comments. As for the wayward partner, your job right now is to focus entirely on your healing and to rebuild the trust that was broken. That means transparency, honesty, and patience, even when it feels like you're not making progress. When he asks questions like, how will this ever be okay? He's looking for reassurance. While you can't promise the future, you can affirm your commitment. For example, say something like, I know it doesn't feel okay now, and I know I caused this pain, but I'm here. And I'm not giving up on us. Avoid trying to fix his feelings. Just listen, validate, and sit with his emotions, no matter how uncomfortable it gets. I've been in your shoes, and I know how overwhelming it feels. The best advice I can give is to lead with humility and consistency. Right now, your betrayed partner is in survival mode, and he needs to see action from you more than anything else. Words are important, but they won't mean much unless they're backed up by real change. Start by being completely transparent about everything. Your phone, your schedule, even your thoughts. Let him know that you're an open book. Answer his questions honestly, even if it hurts, and resist the urge to get defensive. He needs to feel like he has all the pieces of the puzzle to make sense of what happened. First, I want to commend you for seeking advice and recognizing that you're lost right now. That self-awareness is the first step toward doing the work necessary for reconciliation. Your partner is in an incredible amount of pain, and you're right to focus on validating his feelings without trying to fix or minimize them. You mentioned that communication feels impossible now. This is common after D-Day, but it's crucial to stay patient. When he's angry or questioning you, don't rush to defend yourself or explain. You've lost that privilege for now. Listen, validate, and show him you're doing the work through actions. I see is great, but also consider finding resources like How to Help Your Spouse Heal from Your Affair by Linda McDonald. It's short, direct, and invaluable for situations like this. It's going to take time, months, even years, but if you stay consistent and focus on his healing, you'll have a better chance of rebuilding what you've broken. Keep going, even when it feels impossible. It's worth it if you both want to fight for this.